Hello, Algebra 1 students. I decided to make a video tonight. It's actually Sunday night, and I decided to make a video because I'm not going to see 8th period again tomorrow. It's been almost a week and a half, and so I wanted to just share some things about where we're at in this standard and do some instructing here and hopefully help you guys get on the right track. So, sorry I'm gone again, but you guys have work to do. I'm going to give you some things in this video that can move you forward. So we've been talking about exponents, and so just a real quick recap. Like I said, it's been a little while since you probably thought about mathematics with a term last week. So just remember, when we have an exponent, we have, right, here's the exponent. This number here we call the base, right? And this whole thing, 7 to the third exponent, or the third power, means the base times itself the number of times in the exponent. Okay? And so we've been doing lots of things with this. We've been recently working with variables like x squared y quantity to the third power, something like this. And I've said to expand this and then simplify it. And so we learned to take, in this case, x squared y, that's the base. That to the third power means x squared y times x squared y times x squared y, right? The base times itself 3 times. And then we said, because everything's being multiplied here, all of these are factors, we can rearrange them, and furthermore, I should point out specifically first that we can write out these exponents. So x times y times x times x times y times x times x times y, right? So you expand everything. That's the word we used, and then you can start putting them back together. So there's x, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 x's, so x to the 6th. 3 y's, y cubed. And so this right here is the simplified version of this. Okay? So we've been working on that. Hopefully that's just kind of a quick review and helps you kind of get thinking about exponents again. What I want to show you today is negative exponents and zero exponents. So let's first talk about the zero exponent. And I know some of you have already done some work with these on IXL, so again, this might just be a quick review, but I want to make sure everyone has this instruction. So if I have 7 to the 0 exponent, okay, the value of that whole thing is just 1. If I have 5 to the 0 exponent, it again is just 1. If I have x to the 0 exponent, it's just 1. Hopefully you're getting the gist here. If I have x squared y to the 7th z all to the 0 exponent, everything is just 1. Okay, so anything to an exponent of 0, that whole expression is just 1. Okay? And we'll apply that here in just a minute. The other thing that I wanted to show you was negative exponents. Negative exponents. Okay. And let's do a little, let's make a little pattern first to help us understand what happens with negative exponents. So let's just use the number 3. 3 to the 0. We just said 3 to the 0, anything to the 0 power was 1, right? What if I have 3 to the first power? Well, 3 to the first power is 3 times itself 1 time, so it's just 3. Okay. And then over here, 3 to the second power, well, 3 squared, we know that is 9. What about 3 cubed? 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. Okay, so we kind of got this nice geometric pattern here. Remember, to go from one number to the next is geometric if you multiply by the same thing each time. and that's what we're doing. We're multiplying by 3. But think about this, right? What would happen? What is 3 to the negative 1 power, right? So we kind of have this pattern with the exponents here, 0, 1, 2, 3. But what if we went backwards? 3, 2, 1, 0. Negative 1 would be the next one in the pattern. Similarly, 3 to the negative second, okay? Well, what happens with those? And so if we take and think about what we just did here, and moving to the right, we were multiplying by 3 each time. But what happens when we move from right to left to go from 27 to 9? Well, we would divide by 3, right? Divide by 3. Okay, so if we use this pattern, that might help us figure out what 3 to the negative first is. So if we divide by 3, what is 1 divided by 3? Well, 1 divided by 3, we could just leave as a fraction 1/3. 1 divided by 3. Okay. If we do that again, what's 1/3 divided by 3? Well, 1/3 divided by 3 is 1/9. Okay? And so what you see here is we see that 3 to the negative first is the same as 1/3. We see that 3 to the negative second is the same as 1/9. But I really want you to see that 1/9 is just the same as 1/3 squared. And 1/3 is just the same as 1/3 to the first. So what we're doing here is this negative exponent, when we move it, if we were to move this to the denominator, it makes the exponent positive. So 3 to the negative second, it's in the numerator because there's no fraction here, so it's understood to be in the numerator. It would move down to the denominator and make it positive. Okay? So with all that said, let's try a few. So if basically we're going to simplify negative exponents. So anything that's a negative exponent, we're going to make be a positive exponent. So what if I had 1/4 to the negative second? Okay. So what you're going to be able to do is basically you're going to write a fraction bar, and if you have a negative exponent, you're going to move that whole thing to the, in this case, it was in the denominator, so we're going to move it to the numerator, and we're going to make it positive. Okay. And so it's not there anymore, and so there's nothing left on the bottom. This is just your answer, 4 squared. Okay. If I had something like 4 to the negative fifth, like this, again, we start with our fraction bar. This is in the numerator, so to make that exponent positive, we move the whole thing down here and make it positive. Okay. Let's try it with a variable. What if we have x to the negative third? Well, that would be 1/x to the positive third. Or if I had 5/y to the negative third. Okay. Make my fraction bar. 5, there's nothing with the 5, so that just stays where it is. And then I want to move that from the denominator to the numerator and make the exponent positive. There we have it. Okay, so those are negative exponents, kind of the basics with that. All right. So you're going to do some IXL practice, and I was actually looking at some of the IXL practice. You're going to do IXL V.3, V.4, V.5, and V.6. That's what you're going to work towards. Now, a lot of you already have V3 and V4 done. You figured out some of the negative exponent stuff on your own. Way to go. If you're not at 80% on those, work on those first, okay? And then continue to work on V5 and V6. We want to make some progress there. So I was looking ahead on these, and I saw a few problems that I just thought might be good to go over. So I think this one might be from v.5. So z to the 0 power over z to the negative 6. What do we do on simplifying something like this? Well, I like to start with the fraction bar. And then I say, okay, z to the 0. Do I know anything about that? Well, that's anything to the 0 power is 1. So that's just going to be 1. Do I know anything about this? Well, yeah, I want to make that positive, and I can move it from the denominator to the numerator and make it positive. So z to the 6th is my simplified answer there. Okay. Another example might be m to the 5th over m to the negative 2nd. Right? So what are you going to do on something like this? Well, again, make my fraction bar. M to the 5th, that's already a positive exponent, so I'm going to leave it right where it's at, m to the 5th. This one down here, I'm going to move it from the denominator to the numerator to make the exponent positive. And then I'm going to think about what we've learned previously, and well, there's 5 m's there, 4, 5, and then there's 2 m's there. That makes a total of 7 of them, so that is m to the 7th. Okay, so that's a quick rundown. The V6 gets a little harder, but the same sort of idea. Write it out. I think V6 you're going to have to do some of that canceling like we've done before, but I want you to do as much as you can today. Really stay on task, guys, and you know, I'm going to set probably like a 15-minute practice outside of class for homework for whatever of these you don't get done. Tomorrow we'll go on to something new. But again, sorry I wasn't in class today for 8th period. We'll catch you tomorrow. Make sure you're working hard the rest of the period here. Okay, I want to have a good report when I get back. Thanks.